All right, everybody. Getting a little late start there, so I hope you're still with us, but most people watch this in post anyway. This is Michael Vosbein. This is Drummer Nation Live. I have my esteemed co-host, Adam Nussbaum, with me, and our distinguished guest, William F. Ludwig III, and here they are. Hello, gentlemen. Thank you. Bill,
you see everybody.
Can I call you Bill?
Sure. Bill, B3, whenever.
I was just going to say the industry knows you as B3, and there's a reason for that.
Yep.
You come from a long line of distinguished William F. Ludwigs. Tell us about your family history for those who may not know.
Well, yes, I do. I'm very honored to be in that family line up. But the way the three came to be was my grandfather would come out the weekends to mom and dad's house. And somebody would call and say, my mom, my name is Control, would say, Bill there. And she'd say, which one? 1, 2, 4, 3. So that's how that took hold.
And one was who?
That was my grandfather, William F. Ludwig Sr.
And he did a few things in the percussion industry. Tell us about him.
Yeah, just a bit. And he started out in 1909, bass drum pedals, because he was with a drummer for circus, using a big hole wooden bass drum pedal like that small, big beat earner, very slow. And got a gig at a vaudeville act, and needed a better bass drum pedal, so we started out. And it was small, pull up, fast. That's it. And white wheel pocket. And everybody flipped it out, and they saw that. Says, "Where'd you get it? I need one order." Well, I mean, we'll make me one. So he and his brother Theobald started making bass drum pedals in his garage, and he eventually took out a drum stock, and then they grew it and more manufactured. And that's how the company started.
I remember going with Rob Cook once after the Chicago Vintage Show, and he took us by that building where your grandfather invented that bass drum pedal in the basement. Pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it is cool.
Rob does those tours. So then Dad was the next in line. When did that he was the one they called the chief, or was that your grandfather?
Yes. No, that was Dad. And he called him he started working with Senior after him down in the Navy. And the company was growing, adding more lines. Moving Tiffany, Senior was playing Tiffany Liabana. I mean, he got this hand too. Tiffany was a real rag. We could do it quite better. So we developed a foot tune Tiffany. And that was a big spark. And then I got involved in the company in high school, working every department their own sub-others, customer service, theater department, and travel with the sales with college entrepreneurs. I've been around the business. I mean, I used to go to attack in third grade and open mail and San
Can you see the screen? I presume that's you, the little guy there, right?
Yes, that's me.
And then a few years later,
sweet picture.
Thank you.
Yeah, what a great family. So you began working in a shop doing this and
Wow.
Yeah, really. There aren't very many families.
No, I have to ask this question.
Jump in, Adam.
I think practically every drummer I know at some point in their life played the Speed King.
Yeah.
And that was such a unique design at the time. Was that something that your grandfather also came up with?
Yes. Oh, yeah. This digital pedal really into the Speed King. And then the original had looking well, if you'll wait just a second, hold up.
There they are, the original and the Speed.
Because this was fascinating. It compressed the spring instead of stretched the spring.
And you're right, everybody had one. I don't know of a drummer from back.
This is a gift that I just got 2 days ago. I was taking the drop a drum kit out to play in the orchestra or start his tour in Chicago. So the manager heard me do another interview that said I didn't have any of the old pedals from seniors era. And he saw this, did a bunch of bottling for me.
Wow.
It just gave it to me 2 days ago.
Beautiful.
So this shows, though, that the string mechanisms here were very, it's simple, but we had it exposed. So when seeing your graphing speaking pedal, you wanted them in the springs and compression springs is to last longer than the stretching string. And also enclose them in pieces, so they want you to, accidentally stretched or already or whatever over time. And that's one of the really top issues of the speed kicking pedal is there's ball bearings on each side and then the compression spring against the can. And it's very simple, very durable, and very reliable.
I'll say, I mean, it ruled the industry for 25 years.
Oh, yeah.
And it's still available now. So, does somebody make them still, Bill?
I believe the company still makes a version of it, but they haven't weed outside. They won't physically make them themselves. I'm not sure.
Now let's look at some.
Another company owns Ludwig, and
Right.
I'm not.
We'll talk about that in a bit when we get to your company. How about that? That is from 1929, I think. I saw when I found this on the net. That is an original Black Beauty. Tell us about the Black Beauty. That's another thing that every drummer's either had or would love to have.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful drum. Did it originally with rat shell, black wall, and then somebody, I'm not sure who, it's engraved over that and showed with brass through it. And that's how that evolved in years.
John Aldridge is the guy who does most of that work nowadays. And then how about this? Everybody's got one of these too. This is a Supraphonic.
Oh yeah.
And these drums, folks, they still win awards and stuff.
Yeah, that was a real workhorse. It's a great woman studio or live. And I don't want to get too far ahead, but I started my company coming up 10 years ago. I had the snare drum sound in my head, had one where we create. It came from Superbot. So that's what got me started.
Well, let me ask you about I know you know a lot about what they call intellectual property, right? Intellectual property is the stuff a business will own that isn't tangible. It's not a drum, it's the concept for the drum. It's the logo, it's the trademark, copyrighted material, all that stuff. You are in a unique position in that you are William F. Ludwig III, but your company is not Ludwig. Much in the same way to me, my friend Andy Zildjian, a lot of people know, owns Sabian, but their main competitor is Zildjian, and he is a Zildjian. So tell me about that. I bet you've had a lot of water under the bridge of intellectual property concerns.
Yes, it's a little frustrating, but then I sold the company in 1981. We were having a lot of struggles with the union. At the same time, overseas competition is growing rapidly, and it's felt to be better to sell to larger corporations. And they didn't see any need for us around, and we were kind of asked to move on.
I feel your pain, brother.
Yeah, but so now, over 9 years, I'd say I was away with business with various office jobs, which I did lightly. And 10 years ago, I had a change in my life. I moved out of downtown Florida with my 2 young daughters. We're getting settled. I was also unemployed, wondering what am I going to do. I've got 2 young daughters. and I saw this picture of Senior, that one right behind. I don't know if you can see that in our parking lot. See that one?
Great. Yeah, I see that. I know that picture.
Yeah. That Senior in the factory testing drums, and I hung that picture up, and all the look so happy and so proud. And for some reason, I took it off the wall and put it back, moving it in my father's handwriting. Senior starting out, and I looked at the front of the picture, and he had a date on it, 1942. And I figured he started out, looked like about 20 years before that. And I figured he was 59, and he started over with his stuff and calling it WFL drum company. I was 59 at that time and thought, boy, if he can do it, I can do it. And that's what's gotten me to start WFLiii drums. So, will I have?
Here you are, and you're making some wonderful drums. I got this from your website. There are your snare drums. Let's mention the site. It's spell it out for everybody.
It's WFLiii drums.com.
Okay. And
it's kind of interesting to get back to the original question about intellectual property. I can't use by Ludwig. I wanted to use some of my bell property. I can't use that because that had one with the system of clean Daniel. So I just went with WFLiii. And everybody sees WFL of the low rating executives, then they see the free, they figure it out. But that's been an interesting route to get people to understand or see the direction of their media, the verses. Oh, well, you're with Ludwig. I said, no, I'm not with Ludwig anymore. Well, the name's Ludwig. You know what my name is. And then I have to explain to them that I am Ludwig. But it's getting worse, getting along now. This is like Oklahoma, and it's been a lot of fun. I'm just happy to be back making drums.
Well, I'm glad you're there. Tell us about your drums. Now, I notice here you have a direct price, and there's your snare drums, and there's some shell packs. What makes a 3 different than a different Ludwig drum?
Well, it's usually the main drum that I start with is aluminum shell. It comes from trick from and made it in throw offs well below. And I approached him. This is a drop line near me. He says, works because he laser cuts off of his mounting holes. He says that we can laser cut that free. Well, that's its recess at the part. It was that he laser cuts the free. He broke the shell. And at first I thought, boy, that would be cool. And then once we got into it, find out it's a bigger vent area, but actually gives the bottom half quicker response to the snares. So that does set us apart.
Absolutely.
And then when we got into the wood shell drums, they clicked the cuff up 3 through the wood, which was looking at it. So we cut a bigger vent hole, one port, vegetable, 3 through it.
Very cool. And so the drums are made. Do you make your own shells or outsource the shells?
No, we get our shells from Nordic, up in Minneapolis.
Proprietary stuff for you, I presume.
Exactly, and they're made. I wanted to go with the thin, resident shell, like the Senior used to make, and they can't do 3-ply. We do 6-ply, but it's very, very thick cloth, and it's the same thickness as a 3-ply. It's just that 4 rings inside that we put in, and it's just a beautiful wordsmith. Wow.
Beautiful. Yeah, I've heard your drums and played them at the trade shows. They're wonderful. Now, another intellectual property term, I guess, or business term is channel conflict. So I notice you're selling your drums directly, but you have dealers too, right?
Yes, and I sell them directly but I always sell it map price, never discount. Well, I always tell people to get a quote from me, then go to a local dealer or dealer online and see if you get a better price 90% of the time than that.
For people who may not know, MAP was instituted by the industry some years ago, stands for minimum advertised price. And it means that they can sell a product for whatever they want, but they can't undercut each other online or elsewhere on advertising prices. In which people get away with bundling and debundling and special colors, and it just gets nuts. So that's been working out. Your dealers are happy with that arrangement as well, because you're still focusing on them.
Yeah, exactly. And I always try to drive customers back and always for subsidiary with give it the dealers that are first on, but that get the contract. And as I says, that all dealers would sell on it online also.
That's
It's not necessarily
when
where they are or where the dealer is located.
Right, and that's a new thing. When I got involved in my company, a symbol company, in the 2004, around in there, they were still dealing with territories, physical territories.
Yeah.
And the online thing just blew that all out of the water. But the dealer contracts would say, you can't sell here and you can't sell there. And what a different industry it is.
Right.
How else have you seen the industry change?
Well, there's some distributors out there now, so big distributors, and that wasn't around before. That's the European one. So that's a little interesting. But the online thing that's really strong, like people like Sweetwater, which is doing a tremendous job of marketing and tracking their customers, follow up their customers. Something I try to do.
Absolutely.
I'm a real hands-on person. So when my grandfather taught that, you have good customer service up on the product, everything else will come together. When people call WFLiii drums, most of the time I answer it's off. And they can't believe that. First of all, some of them answered, but then it's a one thing, and I'm like, yeah, it rang. What do you want? And we had a lot of fun with that.
I won't mention the company, but a friend of mine said he called a well-known company of a brand named after a person, and he got the menu, the enter in the letters. He entered in the letters for the brand name, and they said, there's nobody here by that name.
Super.
So that's what I like about small companies. You call your company, you pick up the phone, man.
Right. And also I get a message or give you active info. And saying, with the email and then from the website, they could go to info at drums. That answers.
Now, are you doing sort of one level of great drums, or you're not doing like the good, better, best thing with some import China stuff? And
no, we're just sticking on the special blowing and doing that is to the best quality.
I love that. Do that.
In fact, that's also what we did a couple about a year and a half ago was discontinue wraps because we had problems with the wraps checking, filling up with the CD. So we had a problem with that, or one stuff. So I thought, okay, this is not performing. Discontinue. We bought a guy and some drink that it's just absolute artists. And all of our finishes are Citrion. All the sparklers are Citrion, spray paint finishes, and just come up beautiful. Or to clear coat to really give it the dab, and then beautiful gloss finish.
It's amazing how you can do that with paint and lacquer now, and the glitter and everything is in there. Do you keep a large?
Yeah, and just starting looking.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Multi-colored sparkler, which is really cool.
Now, this is all on your website, I presume.
That isn't even up yet. That's a black galaxies that we just use model at the Chicago Dog Show. And that's going to be going up very soon.
Now, we skipped over a big little chunk of the Ludwig history that made a big difference in the world. I think people are going to recognize this immediately.
Oh yeah.
It had a little bearing on sales and recognition, didn't it?
Oh yeah, it was unbelievable. I'll never forget it. And I was in fourth grade. Mom and Dad's living room pool. We were all watching chips and stuff together. I thought, but wow, our names are like, God, how cool is that? Then I turn around and look at Dad, and he's like, yeah. And I said, what's the matter? And he goes, this guy is going to be so difficult to work with, so big, he's going to be worse with Buddy Rich. And I thought, and I knew what already.
That's funny.
I can't eat. And would have her, no. And after reading where he go, he's just this absolute opposite, the nicest guy, easiest to do with sure I ever worked with. And very funny.
I saw Adam shaking his head like me.
I think we all remember watching the Ed Sullivan Show, man. February something 64.
Yep.
Changed my life.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Did you know that woman, Jules Follett, she did a coffee table book on drummers, right? And you've all seen that book, right? And it's got hundreds of drummers in it. And she said everybody of a certain age, their story begins with, well, I saw the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
No, it's amazing.
Understate the importance of that.
The next day at the factory, our customer service department, the phone was ringing off the wall. People are, everybody was saying, I want a Ringo kit. I want a Ringo kit. When our customer service people are like, what's the Ringo kit? Dan was like, just like you want it. Don't worry about it. No. It would be black oysters for one rack, one bar. No, and we built it in substantial additions to the factory. At one point, when we went to 6 days a week, 24 hours a day, we were 9 months behind that oyster store.
Do you think there's anybody that can have that kind of impact on the industry anymore? One single artist?
If there is, I hope I find them. They're very slow.
If you're out there, call Bill.
Yeah, really.
That's kind of a once in a lifetime thing. I asked Remo Belli that kind of the same question about, did you expect this to happen, or was it just like, wow? He said, no, we had no idea it could take off like that. I mean, it just expanded the whole industry.
Well, the way it happened was just amazing. Ringo was with his manager, Robert brought out, we'll give you a new kid. And he saw a little sample of the Black Oyster Burrow at Island Arbiter's desk and says, oh, I want to have that. And then he said, the Ludwig makes this. And I want it when they love it anyhow, because it was approval by U.S. State Honor Inspector. Yeah. So, when we get home, he got that, and the rest is history.
So, just to touch on, you still are USA made, and you're going to keep it that way.
Yeah, this is. Oh yes.
Excellent. Adam, what you think?
Yeah. Pardon me?
I'm asking Adam, what you thinking, Adam?
It's fantastic.
So,
I'm just thinking it's incredible to see somebody who's been in this tradition and who's coming from the real source of this product. Your direct contact, your direct lineage. And I just find that it's wonderful to see, because it's a true deep connection. And you're connected to something that's historical, and it's had a major impact on our culture. And the fact that you're here and you're still doing it, hooray. And I applaud that. And for me, I find that as a player, I always learned the most when it was direct contact. Being in the room and hear somebody, not just a record or a video or now watching them on YouTube. It was like when you're in the room and you're part of that history, and you're there. There's no substitute for that. You know, I remember that summer, just a little anecdote for me. That summer, after I saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, I got to see a concert for the benefit for the NAACP at Leonard Bernstein's summer home in Fairfield, Connecticut. And I was 8 years old, and I saw Dizzy, I saw Wes Montgomery, Bub Lee, Milton, and Disney ended up giving me a piggyback ride. So that year changed everything for me.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't remember the music. I just remember how much fun Dizzy was as a person. I didn't realize what a great musician he was. I just saw the guy with the cheeks and the trumpet, and he was clowning with this little, what used to be red-haired guy. And he was like the grooviest, coolest uncle you would have. And, you know, having those connections with people and seeing that you're still doing this, it's, you know, this is deep in your blood, man. You know, you couldn't escape the drugs, man. It's in your DNA.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a lot to talking about having with a cool uncle like that. I had that relationship with John Morello, because he and Dad were best friends. Well, he had played, 4 or 5 nights in Chicago, always go out to the house for dinner.
And who was that? I'm having an echo. I couldn't hear.
John Morello.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my first contact. He married me when I was a baby.
Wow.
So I did a lot of clinics in Chicago. Such a nice guy, but so funny. We had so many great times and what. I just love his relay.
My first clinic was a Ludwig clinic in '67, and it was Joe. And I just remember as a kid, I thought he was hilarious and wonderful.
Oh.
Let me take a quick break for a couple of spots here. Hang on, gentlemen. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Bobby A. And today I wanted to tell you about how much I really love the Hudson Music Digital app. Okay, now, check it out. It's an app that you can get for your device, and you can purchase books from the Hudson Music Digital Store and have them stored right on your device. The great thing about it is you always have it with you, and any content that might be video related or music related is right there at your fingertips. It's a wonderful resource.
Hey, everybody out there in cyber world. This is Adam Nussbaum.
Hi, Dave DeCenzo here. Hi, Ramiro Schwartz here.
Hey everyone, Stan Moore here. Hey guys, Johnson Pesty here.
Hey, everybody, this is John J.R. Robinson.
Hi, Todd Zuckerman here from Georgia Center of Portsmouth. They're knowledgeable. They'll be able to help you and guide to make the right choice for you and the music that you play.
From Wingnut to Wuhan, these chaps know what they're talking about. Highly recommend.
But what do I know? Drop.
What do we know? We're just drummers, right? I wanted to touch on something else. We all know what the significance of that.
Time out for a second.
Okay, go back.
Do you guys see this? With CC with Dan and Ringo.
Yes, tell that story.
Well, after these tremendous impact of Ed Sullivan Young, Dad, about a year later, Dad wanted to do something nice with Ringo, give a thank you. But what do you give it? So Dad thought, look at a snare drum, old lady. Every oval launch means oval lady, including the stairs champions. And he called management one and I've got this Jeff, where should I ship it? And they said, well, they're playing in Chicago in a couple of weeks. We will make the arrangements for you to go to the show and do a photo session. So that's how that translates there. There's a great picture of Ed, a wall of Jimmy and Ringo would grow. And Ringo was nice enough to keep in touch with me while I was away from the drum industry for so long. They invited me to the Ringo All-Star show in Chicago. And I was the only person allowed backstage. It was just very nice. And I told him I was starting my own drum company. He said, "Whoa, that's a great for the festival." Well, I said, "Yeah, but I want you to have that first respond." So he said, "Well, if we take a picture like the Danny had."
Oh, let me get that.
Well, there's the first drum I made, and it went to Ringo. I think the first was 50 lumbar and side inside, and he got number one.
That's great. What I was getting at is we know the impact that logo had, not only the Beatles, but Ludwig and Remo later on the world. But nowadays, I was watching this tribute to Joni Mitchell last night on PBS, and Brian Blade, I think, was the drummer, and they taped over the logos. So that's getting to be a really weird thing out there, where they're not giving a lot away. You know what I mean?
It could have been that the drums he were using, I don't know if he endorses any company, so maybe he'd want to have anything be presented.
You never know.
True, and also I think it has a lot to do with production team of the TV show or whatever they're doing.
I remember Max Roach told me once years ago that when he was on the Bill Cosby show, he had his Ludwig drums there. And they said, "What are your guys going to do about supporting this?" And he didn't know what they were talking about. And they called Ludwig and they said, "Well, we got your boy here on camera, and what do you want to do?" And they said, "We don't have a budget for that." So they just took some tape and covered the logo.
Yeah.
And nowadays, it's I used to look for my logos everywhere. I was free advertising, and they're not giving that away anywhere, man. They cover that up every chance they can. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Sometimes you get to the gig, they don't have the product you endorse, so you have to do what you do, and you just put a little tape on it.
Yeah, you never know what the situation is. But we know some prominent logo placement can really go a long way. So you have artists too, right? You have artists endorsing?
Yes, I do. I have kind of like the group of people, from jazz guys to rock, some of the bigger tribute bands, which are very rock in this.
I know, yeah.
And it's hard. I'm looking for the young, hot, upcoming drummer, but not a lot of those out there.
You know, there's a lot of gigs out there that are not what you would call a drummer's gig, where only great drummers come through that chair. So that there might be wonderful drummers, but I'm not sure the world knows who's playing drums with Miley Cyrus or Taylor Swift. Or a lot of
exactly. Yeah. That's why I found, that in some of these tribute bands out there, like Get the Lead Out with the Led Zeppelin, the Phil Collins Experience, they play no for drum, and they get the full crowd every night. They'll really put on a great show. I'm just kind of focusing on some of those types.
Yeah, good for you. Hit them where they ain't, as they say in baseball.
Well, yeah. I mean, they get let out of these 2 tons of theaters every night on tours, which are all equipment, and it just puts off a tremendous show.
Mm-hmm.
And so, why not? And the audiences are all a little older age group, which has some disposable one. A lot of the times, I know a lot of them, they put the band back together, and we just get in studio or in a garage and if they buy equipment.
They have the ears to want good stuff and the ability to buy it.
Yeah. Right.
Now,
one of my early mentors is one of your endorsers, Joe Corsello.
Oh, yeah. Joe was great. He's wonderful.
Joe was with us.
Great guy. When I was just a young flame, I used to hear him a lot in Connecticut. I knew the guy played his ass off, but he was also very kind and very supportive to me. And you never forget that kind of energy that you get from people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, we like your energy, I'll tell you that, Bill. Sure appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Anything you want to cover we haven't talked about?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. Just get people to check out WFLiii drums and give it a listen as you'll want them. I've got so much positive response from sound man, live and in the studio. In fact, when Ted Loretta first got the kit, he was at a sound check here in Chicago. I delivered the drums. They were set up. The sound man came up and says, "Thank you." And he says, "What?" He goes, "I had an hour set aside to get the down and then we were done in 5 minutes." So that really makes me feel good. Same in the studio. And you know how this is. Recording studio, band sticking around and something's wrong with the drum sound. And we can't get with Larry. I mean, you're not a real popular guy. But the sound that just well up.
That's great. Now, I'll give some advice to customers out there. If you would like to find Bill's drums in your local drum shop, the best thing you can do is ask them for them. Would you agree?
Definitely.
That's what dealers want, people coming in and asking for it. So make sure your voice is known that you'd like to hear these drums. In the meantime, they're available on the website. You can buy them direct. You can buy them from dealers. You can call a shop, and guess who answers? William F. Ludwig III.
The only Ludwig in the drum business.
I like that. Yeah,
That's good.
And a name to go with it. Yeah. Okay,
Well,
I guess we got
what's a lot of fun to me is in a deeper store when I need in store WFLiii sometime. And somebody's thinking about buying a drum and actually says, "Look, buy it now, get a picture of me, hand it to me." And that works. And they'll buy something, I'll help carry it out to their car. And have a lot of fun doing that.
can't beat personal relationships. That's what the whole world is based on.
Exactly.
And we all trade at the end
Amen.
on our character and our integrity. And
Yeah.
couldn't go wrong with B3, my buddy B3. I like that nickname. All right, gentlemen, that's it. Anything else? I'm going to show another spot or two on the way out because I keep forgetting to do these. And
Bill, it's a pleasure that you came and we joined us today, and just wonderful hearing everything. Thank you so much, and thanks for what you're doing and your family and the tradition. Amen.
Thank you very much.
amen.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Okay. We'll see you next time.
Aloha.
Gradation Live. Here's a few spots on the way out.
What about some job? 1959 and
Here we have Buddy Richards, the last set he ever played. Last gig he played with Mel Torme at the Palladium. I set it up for him. One of the most iconic pictures is this one. A Joe Road Clinic around 1963. Mr. Hal Blaine, good friends of the store for decades.
The stories that going on. I mean, if these walls could talk, holy mackerel, we'd all go to jail.
Hello, everyone. My name is David Victor. I'm General Manager with the Craviato Drum Company. We wanted to offer a one-ply, solid shelf product, but we wanted it to stay true to our mission of offering handmade drums of uncompromised qualities built here in the USA. So take a listen to our Center State Series drum set.